Hi guys, in this tutorial we are going to create that awesome project which will be created in our Next.js. So if I refresh that page, you can see we have these sections as animated, and here we have slidings, and these are looking awesome. So here at the bottom we have these FAQs which I have got from React Bootstrap. So here we have that contact form. If I click here, you will see we would be automatically directed to our mail, and it would send the mail to that website owner. So it is fully responsive. Let me show you. Here we have this nav boss, and now here we have these types of swipers. We didn't use the swipers which were showing in our desktop view. So this is our cell phone view, and the look of the website would be such in our cell phone devices, and we have used these swipers as changed in our cell phone devices as compared to our laptop devices. So here we have these FAQs and that contact form. So you can see it is looking awesome, but that's quite simple and a basic website. So without wasting any time, let's get started and move to our VS Code for doing that project. So I have here created a folder, and inside that folder I am going to open my terminal by pressing Ctrl and backticks. And here I am going to type npx create next app, and here I am going to give the name of that project. I'm just typing a state web, and here it is asking a couple of questions, so which I should have to select either yes or no. So I don't gonna use any TypeScript, and I am also not going to use my ESLint, and I am not going to use Tailwind, but I am going to use src directory because I would do my best to make it relatable to our React.js. That's why, if you remember, we had src folder inside our React.js. That's why I am going to press yes, and app router, which should be yes if we have to create some routing in our application. So I don't gonna import alias, and now you can see that it is being installed in our local system, and you will see here we have some folders installed, and here you can see that our Next.js project is successfully installed in our local system. So I am also going to install my React Bootstrap, and I gonna install it. The very first line I am going to install in my project, but we have to move now inside our real estate web because we have that main folder, and inside that folder we have our project of Next.js. So I am just clearing it, and now I am going to move inside our state project, which is a state web, and here I have to install my React Bootstrap, and it is being installed. And one thing more that I have to do here, I have to import that line inside our page, which is inside source. Here we have page, and I am going to import we have to move inside node modules. Inside that node modules, we have Bootstrap. I don't gonna write it again. Inside that Bootstrap, we have dist. So now this is a complete path that we have imported here. Now if I save it, and you can see that we have successfully installed our React Bootstrap. Let me show you in dependencies. And here you can see this is Bootstrap version, and this is React Bootstrap version. And one thing more that I gonna do here, because this is probably going to be our last project of our React complete course. So that's why I am also going to import our material UI. Here I gonna copy it, because I will also use some components from material UI. This is default installation, and this is with styled components. It's up to us. We can also install it. And let me show you. Here we have material UI, that variant which is installed at this time. So this is the current version, which is 5.16.7. And here I am again going to clear that screen. And now I am going to run our Node Package Manager in our local system. So here I have link, and you have to click on that link. It will automatically redirect you to the server. Either you are using Chrome or Edge, it's up to you. So here you can see such an output. So I gonna remove all the code. Now I'm just going to press RAFCE, and now we are going to start the page component from scratch, which is same like we had an app component, like this app component in our React.js. But in our Next.js, I have told you that why this is page component inside that app component. So I'm also going to remove all the CSS from globals so that it may not make any effect in our browser or in our project. And here you can see we have only page which is being rendered due to that page component. So here I am going to use, for the very first time, I am going to take here a component so here I am going to take a component folder inside source but not inside app component. So we have directly made app component inside source component. So I am going to move in our that project, and here inside real estate I have that source, and inside that source I am going to create another folder which is named as component. Now I am again moving to our project, and here inside that source we have two folders now. The first folder is app and the second folder is components. So we should have to write all the new components inside that component folder. So I am going to take some images, but for the very first step let me create here a nav bar. Inside that folder I am going to create a nav folder, a nav component, nav bar.jsx. Just press RAFCE, and I'm going to save it. And inside that app component we have to move inside that page component, and here I am going to import our navbar, and here I am also going to render that navbar. If I save it, and here we have successfully imported our navbar component. So I am going to move inside our React Bootstrap, and inside components I have navbar. Here I have navbars, and I am going to use, let me show you which navbar I am going to use here. I am just going to use that navbar. Let's copy it and paste it inside our that navbar code. And let me also make the names of function same with respect to our page. Now I am going to use a fat arrow function. You can also use it. So let's use that function, that simple function. Now if I save it and refresh the page, we have here a problem that it is showing that this is probably a bug in the React server, and whenever you see such any error which is in a React client manifest or any other error pointing out to the server, so one thing you have to do at the top, you have to use client. Now if I save it and you can see the error has gone, but our CSS part is not successfully imported. Let me see what is the problem. We have removed our CSS part from here. That's why it is not being rendered with their CSS. We have to move inside node modules, inside that bootstrap. So let me copy the path again from bootstrap. Introduction, I have moved in installation. So I am going to copy the path onward from our bootstrap, and here I am going to paste it. Now if I save it, and you can see we have such a navbar. So this is the logo and all these values. So what I have to do now, I want this will not be here. So I am going to remove that search bar from the navbar, and I am going to remove that. We have that search bar. If I save it, the search bar has gone now. So we are left with these icons and logo. So here I am also going to remove the drop down menu. I am going to remove all the menus, but we would have left with only home navbar, and I am going to copy it, and I think I have removed some further data. And I am going to paste it. Now if I save it, now we have these 4 navbars, but I want these 4 navbars at the right side. So our that margin left or margin right is not working correctly. I think there is a problem. So ignore it. I have second option, that here I can type margin left as 50%. I'm just going to take here 55%. So we should also take here a button at this place. I am going to use a button from our material UI. We can also use the button from our React Bootstrap, but I am going to use it from our material UI. And here I am going to type button. I am going to take that button, expand that code, and now I am going to copy that code. And I am going to take an extra component without reason. I'm just typing its name as dummy.jsx, and here I have pasted that component, which is a button component. So inside that navbar, I am going to paste the button component one by one. and here I am going to pass that button. I'm just pasting it after these navbars. Now if I save it, and here it is showing us the problem. So let me show you what is the problem. You can see that the name button is defined multiple times. So let me show you inside that navbar. I have imported that button from React Bootstrap. So now it will not show any error. Let me save that page and move to the output. And here you can see we have such a button which is imported from our material UI. So what we have to do now, I want there should be some gap between. So here I am taking some margin. I can also take here some padding. Style as margin. Margin top 0 pixel and margin left 5 pixel, margin bottom 5 pixel and right as 5 pixel. Now if I save it, you can see we have such an output. You can also give more margin. I'm just giving it as 7, and here also. Now it's looking better, but we have not given that style to the button, so we should also give it to the button. Just press Ctrl S and move to the output. Now our navbar is looking awesome, and we are left with two things. The very first thing is we have to change the background color of that navbar. Let me show you. Here we have that background color. Now if I save it, and I am going to Google, and here I have to type black color, not exact black color, but near to black color code in CSS. It will show a lot of codes here. So here I am just going to use that code, which is hash 21, 29 and 30. Here I am going to give some style, background color as hash 21, 29 and 30. Now if I save it, refresh that page, it is looking awesome, but our test has gone. So here I have to give as color white, it is not going to display that color here. So here I am going to give the color as well. Color as, let me take here quotations white. Now if I save it, and you can see we have that white color, but still we have the logo in black color. So I can also set the logo color to white. Now if I save it, it is looking awesome. So I'm also going to make all the links as bold. Here you have to type font weight as bold. So if I save it, and you can see we have the font weights as bold. I'm just going to take some margin from top and bottom. I'm just going to take 5 pixels, and you can see we have no margin inside that button. So let me also give here some margin. I'm just going to give the 7 pixel or 10 pixel if we need the more width of that nav bar. So here I am also going to take 10 pixel, and here as well. Now it is looking awesome. And one thing more, that we have the color of that button as black. So we should change the color of that button. We have the button inside that toggle, and here I am going to take some style as color of white. Let me also give its background color as white. Now you can see that it is looking awesome. And we can also remove that color which is just pointing out to some content which we don't have. And here it is looking awesome. We have removed that color which was pointing out to the layout. So I have to give some width here. I am going to make some height as 150 pixel. I'm just taking here 200. In 200 we have such that project. So I think that's enough for our nav bar. And one thing more, that we had here the outline color. So we should remove the outline. Outline as none. Now save it and refresh it. But you can see here still we have some space. So we have two options. We can also give some margin from left. as we had already given. I'm just typing here as 60%. And here I'm also going to take some margin from left and right as 9 pixel, and again 9 pixel. Now this is okay and everything is looking awesome. So now let me change these names of button and navbar as well. Here inside that home button or home navbar, I am just going to type residencies, and here our value, contact us, get, you can type here anything, get started, and here inside that button I'm just going to type get in touch or anything. I can also type here mail us, or I can type contact, is up to you. I have given here some more margin. Now it is looking awesome. So we have done with our that navbar. So what I have to do now, I have to take here a hero component. Inside that components folder, .jsx, now if I save it and move inside page, and here I have to take container as well, which is imported from our React Bootstrap, and I am typing the container type as fluid, and inside that container I have here div class name of row, and we have second div and its class name as column medium device 12, and here I am going to import our hero section, which is hero component. Now if I save it, refresh that page, here hero component is rendered successfully. So let me move inside our hero, which is hero component. So here I am taking class name as row, and we have here class name as column of medium device at 6, and again I am going to copy it and paste it, and this is our left side and this is our right side. Now if I save it, refresh that page, this is our left side and this is our right side. in which we are going to work now. So what we have to do now, I'm just going to take here some header tag. So for the very first time I am going to take here class name of row, because now we are further going to work with that row and column grading system. Class name column medium device as 3, and I can take here 2 is out to us. Control C and paste it, and here I am going to take one column, and here the remaining columns, which are 9, and I am going to minimize that code so that it may be understandable easily. Inside that column I am going to type here h1 tag, and inside that h1 tag I am writing discover most suitable properties, or you can also type anything. So here I am taking, let me first show you how is it looking like. So I have to take here some break, and here as well. Now if I save it, now it is looking awesome, but I'm going to take some margin or padding from top. I'm just typing padding top as 3 rem. Now it is looking awesome. So I should also make the background color to black, but for the time being just work with the things that I gonna display. So after this h1 tag I am again going to take a br, which is breakpoint, which is break. So here I am going to take a paragraph, find a suitable property that suit you very easily by forgetting all the difficulties and find a residency for you. I think that sentence is enough. Don't focus on the content, but you have to focus on the structure, that how can we create a project in Next.js. So I forgot one thing to type here. We have that navbar scroll. So here I am going to type properties, because this is the name. I can also type homies. Now it is looking awesome. So what we have to do now, I have to take here some location icon and input tag and a button. So how can we do that? I'm just going again to our React Bootstrap, and inside that Bootstrap I'm going to take here navbar again, and inside the navbar I'm going again inside the navbar which I have already used, and here I am going to use that form. Control C, and here I am going to use that form as well, not inside that navbar but inside hero component. Again I am going to take here some break and again some break, and I am going here a div. Control V, I have used that form now. So I have to import form and form.control. I think I should have to import only that form because form control is not here. I can now remove import React. Now if I save it, button is not defined. So let me also import that button from our material UI, not from Bootstrap. You can also import button from Bootstrap, but I am going to import it from material UI. I am going to remove that variant, and now I am also going to take the button style which I have here, variant as content. Now if I save it, move to the output, you can see we have that input type, and here we have the search bar. So here I have now take icons. Here I am going to type icon, and that is material UI icons. I am going to type here location. You can see we have all the icons in a good styling in our material UI. So I am going to use that icon. We have to simply copy it and use it. That's quite easy and simple. So here I am going to import that add location item icon, add location alt icon if I copy it, and now we have to use it inside that form which we have used here. I am going to take here span. Inside that span I am going to take curly braces, and here I have pasted it. Module not found. I think I have not imported material UI icons. So I should also import material UI icons if we have to use it. I have not correctly typed here. Getting started, installation, and here we have icons installation. Just copy it and again move to our project, and here inside the terminal I am first going to kill that terminal, and now moving inside our state web, now paste it and it is being installed now. And you can see that it is successfully installed. So now I am going to run my that project, which I have to type npm run dev. Now open that link. It is compiling. Do you mean render OJS are not valid as React child? If you mean to render a collection of children, use an array instead. Let me see what is the problem now. I have not to write these curly braces because this is not the part of JSX or JavaScript, but this is a component which is imported from Material UI, and it is not in a single line. I am also going to take here that class name. Now everything is inside that single line. So I am first going to remove the outline. Here I am going to take the styling, style, outline as none, and border as none. If I save it, now we have still a problem with that placeholder which we don't need. I am going to remove that placeholder now. Now save it, and now you can see that it is looking awesome, but we still have the outline. Let me also remove it. We have to remove that form control, and here we have to type input. Now if I save it, and you can see we don't have any value now. First let me give these values which I had here, but these values would not work if I remove it. So I am also going to change its color. I am going to give here some styling and going to give the color as blue. Spelling mistake. Now if I save it, you can see we have the color as blue. I am also going to type here some padding as 0.2 rem. Now it has some space here, so I am going to change the background color of the main div. Here I am going to give some styling as background color white and color as black. Now if I save it, refresh it, let me now also make the background color of the main div as black. Background color. Now if I save it, and we have not that color property defined here, I am going to take color as white. Now it is looking awesome, but we still have a problem that we have not the width of 100%. I am going to give here as 3 and here the 8, so that it may make some more margin from here. So here I have to give it as 100%. Let me remove that form tag from here and here as well. Now if I save it, refresh it, and here to that div I am giving width of 100%, undefined string content. I have missed that quotation here. Now it is at 100% width. So what I have to do now, I'm just going to give here some padding. This was just because our form tag which we had used was predefined by React. That's why its width was not increasing. So here I am just going to give some padding 5. I'm just typing here 5 pixel and 10 pixel, again 5 pixel and 10 pixel. If I save it, and now it is done, we have successfully written all the code for our that search bar. So what we have to do now, I have to take here further some count of. For this thing I have to type here react count up, npm, and here I have to copy that code and paste it, because this is a separate library, and here it had told you that how can we use it. So let me also install that library inside our project. First let me remove it, and again I'm gonna open it. I could also install all the libraries at the start, but I want to install the libraries whenever these are needed in our project, so that you might come to know the importance and function of every component or every library that we are going to install. So now I'm going to use that countup inside that hero component. After that button tag, I'm just going to type outside that div, because this div was for our that search bar. So here I'm just giving countup, which I have to import first. Import countup from React countup. I think it is not correct path. From React countup, let me first check it by giving that end of React countup. If I save it, and here at the bottom I will use it. Here I am going to use that component, and as I have already told you that we have start and duration by default. So here I am going to type start from 500 and end at 10,000, and the duration in which I want this should be completed is 4 seconds. Now if I save it and move to the output, it is showing that use client should be used here. So let me also use here the use client. But for React it is not imported and used, because our React is client side rendered and our Next.js is server side rendered. That's why in server side we don't have that countup. That's why it is showing the error. Here we have spelling mistake. Use client, just type T. If I save it, refresh it, you can see we have here successfully counted up. So what should I have to do here? I'm just going to take some span, and inside that span I have that plus icon. I'm just taking it inside a div, and here I am going to give it some styling as color, I will change the color of only my that span. Style, color as yellow. Now I gonna save it. Move to the output. You can see we have the color as yellow now, but I want the font size should be increased. I am going to take here style and font size as 3 rem. Let me check how much it is looking in 3 rem. It is much greater, so I am going to use here 2 rem. Now it is looking awesome. So what I have to do now, I have to take some values at the bottom. I am going to use here p tag, and here I am typing premium products. Now if I save it, and one thing that I have done here, that I am here pointing out to all the divs which I don't need, so I am going to copy it, crop it from here. I am going to crop all the code from here, Ctrl X, and paste it inside that counter, and font size Ctrl C, and here I am going to give the font size. Now if I save it and move to the output, now it is looking awesome. So what I have to do now, you can see it is not at center. I want the top at the center to that bottom. Again I am going to copy to paste it. We don't need this, but we had to use some style, and I am typing here text align as center. If I save it, now it is at center. So what I have to do now, I have to take two others because we need here 3 counters. I am going to copy that counter, Ctrl X, and going to paste inside another div. Now if I save it, and here in the main div I have to type styling and display as flex. Let me also make some changes. The first one is premium products, second one is happy customers, and the third one is going to be award winning, and I'm going to change the values as award winnings to 30 or 32. You can type anything. I'm going to start from 9, and happy customers is 1 lakh, and you can type anything. Now if I save it, and one thing more that I gonna do in the main div is justify content space between. Now it is looking awesome, and I am going to remove the duration of the last one to 3. Now everything at the left side is correct, so at the right side we have to make some changes. We basically need here a simple pic, and we will design that pic. So first let me make some margin from top and bottom to that div. Where is our main div? Here I am going to take margin as margin top of 15 pixel, left 0 pixel, bottom 50 pixel, and the left is 0 pixel and right is 0 pixel. Let me give here 20 and here 20 as well, because this is too short. Now everything is looking awesome at the left side, so at the right side I am going to take a picture. For this thing I have to import some pictures here, and here I have taken some images inside that source component. We have these images, and we are going to use these images inside our hero component. Here I am also going to take row, class name of row, and I am going to give a column class name, column medium device at 10, and I am going to use one column at the left side and one column at the right side. Class name, column medium device 1, class name, column medium device 1. So here I have to use the image. For this thing I have to import image component from our Next. Here I have Next/image, so we have imported that image. Now I am going to use that image here. I have E as capital. Source, let me see what image I have to use at the top. Here I have logos. I'm just going to use that image, which is DD1. So here I am going to import that image. Import from @images slash dd1.jpg. Now we have to use that image, which is hero image. I am going to give it some source. Now if I save it, and here you can see we have that image. So now we have to set that image. So what can we do now? I'm just taking here some style. Inside that style I had some height as I'm just taking 15 rem and width has 10 or 14 rem. If I save it, now that image is too short. Now I have to set that image with that width or 20. I'm just taking 25. Now I think that's enough, and the height is also 25. So it is still compressed, so we should give here some more width and more height as well. Now you can see that it is looking awesome. I should also give here class name as image fluid, which is bootstrap property, and it will hold the image for all the devices. We have some responsiveness issue. I will see it later, but for the time being, just we have to set that image now. I think there is some mistake in counting. We have given some margin. I'm going to take some padding. Let me check if there is still responsiveness problem, and you can see we have set the responsiveness. This was the responsiveness problem. So I'm also going to make its style smaller than this. Where I have typed that font style, font size. I have typed here as 2. I'm just typing 1.5. Let me check. .7, and here I'm typing 1.7, and here as well. .7. Now if I save it, font size now everything is looking awesome, but it is too small, which is third number. Here I have not written point. Now everything is working correctly and is responsive. So what we have to do, let me show you what errors we have still with that image. We have missing an alt property, and the second thing, we have image loaded lazy property missing. So we will handle all the errors, but for the time being we have to focus on the structure which we are going to design. And I'm basically going to take here some div, and I will tell you the reason later why I have used that div. Now I am just going to type that style to main div which I have taken, and here I am just typing with height of 100% and width of 100%, so that the image should be displayed fully. If I save it, move to the output, you can see we have this image looking fully, but this is not responsive. What is again the problem with that image? So let me first remove the upper one, because it is making here some problem. Control S. Till now we have everything responsive. So here I can also point out I cannot type here image fluid. So here I am taking border radius, border radius as 15 rem, which is top left side, and 15 rem which is top right side, and 0 and again 0. Now if I save it, and you can see we have such border of that image. So I'm also going to take some border so that the image should be more designed. I'm just typing 4 10 pixel SOLID solid gray. I think 10 pixel is more. I'm just taking 5 pixel. No, that's enough. So I'm also going to give it more height as 32. Now it is looking awesome. So what I have to do now, I'm also going to take some margin from top so that everything would be settable according to the page. I'm just taking 30 and here 30. No, everything is almost okay. with that design, and it is looking awesome. So what we have to do now, I'm just going to take our company's logo now, which we have another div, and here I am going to take another component. Its name would be as companies logo dot .jsx. Now let me import it inside my page component. Import company's logo. I have used that container. Yeah, this is container. Okay, so here I am going to use company's logo. If I save it, you can see we have successfully imported that component. So inside that component, I am going to use grading system as well. Class name of row, and here class name column MD. I'm just taking 3 because 3 4 times will be equal to 12. I need here 4 logos. So here I am going to import logo 1 from @images slash. Let me show you what logo I am going to type, which is company. Ignore that spelling mistake. This is not spelling mistake, but I have written it intentionally. Now I am going to copy it. Control C, and gonna paste it at 4 times. This is 2, 3, 4, and this one as well. I have to also import image component from Next.image, and here I am going to use that image component. Source as logo 1, alt company's logo, and I am also going to give class name as image fluid, which I have already told you that bootstrap property which is making fluid to image for responsiveness. I'm also going to take some style and height of 3 rem, width of 3 rem. Now if I save it, refresh that page, 3 rem is too small. Ten rem is enough, but I gonna make its width as 12. If I take 14, now it is not compressed, So here I gonna copy it, Control C, and I gonna paste it. Control V, and here I am going to type 2, 3, and here 4. If I save it, move to the output, let me show you its responsiveness. You can see till now our project is fully responsive. Here it is showing the alt property which I had not used inside my that image. So I am also going to type some styling at top and text align at center, and some margin from top 20 pixel, 0, 20 pixel, again 0. If I save it, now it is looking awesome and everything is correct. So I should also take here some margin so that every image should not be conflicted with other. Here I am going to type margin as margin top 5 pixel, 0, again for bottom 5 pixel, and 0. Now it is almost awesome and everything is resolved. So what we have to do now, I have here slider at the bottom place because we have successfully done our project till now. Here I am going to type another div and other component, and it will be named as sliding. For JSX or AFCE, and I have to use it also inside that page. So I'm going to import it, import sliding component, and here after company's logo I have to use it, sliding component. Now if I save it, here we have sliding component rendered. So inside that sliding component I am going to take some H3 tag, here I am going to give class name as row. This is again for the grading system of our application for multiple devices. class name, column medium device 12. I will remove it later if I need. So here I'm just taking H3 best CHOI choices, and here I'm going to take H5 tag, popular residencies. Now its color would also be changed. Style color as yellow, and its color as blue gray. Now if I save it, move to the output, this is yellow, not good. I'm just taking as orange. No, it is almost better. I have to give it greater than our best choices written. Here we have best, and here I'm just taking font weight as bold, and I'm also going to take some styling. In this styling I am going to take margin from top as 20. I'm just taking 4 rem. No, that's enough. So what I have to do now, I'm just going to take React slider, for which I have to again move to our Chrome, and here you have to type Swiper.js, which I have already searched. That's why it is going to show us swiperjs.com. And now we have to install that library also. So before going to install, let me show you the demo. So first let me install it, and I will show everything later. Just copy it and now paste it inside our VS Code. Just press Ctrl J and clear all the previous data. Change directory to a state web. Now paste it. Swiper.js is going to install now. Now run it. That link. We have here 2-3 times rendered that page. So we were talking about slider, and inside resources we have to move in demos, and here you will see we have a lot of swipers. This is a simple slide. This is same like Bootstrap, but it is making some changes and more more advanced features as compared to React Bootstrap, but it have only sliders. You can use any slider, it's up to you. I am going to use that slider. This is quite simple and easy. We can also use any other, it's up to us. First let me show you all the sliders that we have, which are swiper, not slider, because we are going to swipe everything. These are just images. This is centered. This is also awesome. Free mode. This is scroll container. We have that gridding. Here we have nested. Inside a swiper we have further swipers. And this is grab cursor. You can explore every swiper here. Is totally up to you. You can see. So I'm just going to use that swiper because this is looking awesome, but this don't have any button. It may not make good impression on user because there are chances that user don't may know how to swipe it, or is there any image behind it or not. So I am just going to use their swiper. I'm going to use that swiper because it is also making good impression. So you have to click on React if you are using React. Whenever you have to click on React, you will see here some code. Inside that app.js we have all the code. So we have to copy it. Control A and C. Here I am going to use the swiper. Where is swiping component? I am first going to paste all the code inside that dummy code. And here I am going to import all the things which I have imported here. Swiping component, so what we have to do now, we have an other component. This is not a component, this is favicon. Here I am going to take a CSS styling component which is sliding comp.module.css, and here I have to copy that style and paste all the style inside our that component, which is CSS styling, and here I have to import that styling dot module. Here it is showing us. Now if we save it and move to the output, it is also showing that use client should be used here, because it is also for the client side rendering, which is used in React. Now if I save it, refresh that page, it is going to show other errors. So it will have such error, and here I am going to take it unique, Control S, and inside that sliding component I am going to give it class name as body. Now if I save, refresh it, it is not showing the slider because I think we have not imported it inside our page sliding component. We have not written the code inside that, so I have to crop that swiper from here and paste inside that swiping component. I am going to paste it inside that component. Control V. Now if I save it and the page is going to refresh, use effect flip is not defined. Let me check now what is the problem. Effect flip, let me check if there is anything. Oh, I have not imported it. Control X and paste it here. Control V. Now move to the output, and you can see we have such that too much big swiper here, so I need that small swiper. I am going to use it outside here. Again I am going to take a div here. I cannot take the div inside now because I am now again pointing out to row, and inside that row, first let me handle that error, which is quite simple, that we have to remove all the code with, I'm just going to type here React fragment, class name column medium device 6, and again I am going to take here class name column medium device 6, Now if I save it, move to the output, and you can see we have such an output, but we have handled these things till now. So we have successfully imported swiper inside our project. So we have to handle it now. What can we do now? The very first thing that I have to do, I am going to replace that image with our Next.js image. So I have to import image from Next.js. So here I have to use these images. First let me import one image, and I gonna show you one from @ /images again /. Here I am just typing d1.jpg, and I am going to remove it. Here I am going to use that image source. I am the one. Now if I save it, that's also too much big image, so I have to give some style, width of 20 rem, height of 20 rem. Now if I save it, now this image is too small because we have other images greater. That's why the structure is still greater, otherwise it will be short. So I'm just taking height as 40 rem, width as 40 rem. So we have basically chords here. I'm going to remove all the swipe slides because these swipe slides are making issue. I'm just going to copy it and paste it in the structure. Now if I refresh it, this image is still not at center, but you can see it is looking awesome now. So here I am going to take some styling. Let me check test align at center. Now test align is successfully centered. Let me copy it and paste it here. Now save it, refresh the page. You can move anywhere you want in the images, but we don't need these images. We need here chords. So I am going to take chord here I will import that code from my material UI. Ignore material UI. We can also import from Bootstrap. So till this point, we have done all the code one by one by having a live coding. So from that point to next point, I have done it by myself because you are not able to develop a Next.js project by yourself. So that's why I didn't consider it as suitable to teach you everything again and again, because we have learned a complete tutorial series about Next.js, about React.js. So now let me tell you that what we have done here. If I move in page, and let me first make it as comment. Now if I save it, and you can see till this point we have done the code. So what I have done here, I have taken here a sliding component, and let me tell you where is sliding component. We have that sliding component inside component sliding. Here we have that sliding component, and I have imported from my swiper.js. So you can see all the files are imported from swiper.js, and I had already told you that how to import these values from swiper.js. So this was that code is basically not displaying at this point. So what is the reason behind? Let me tell you. I have just made here that we have rendered that sliding component and sliding main component. We have two components with the same sliding. And let me show you what is sliding main component here. That is the sliding main component. Basically, this is our sliding main component, which is being slided here. So let me tell you what is happened basically. Here I have used a class name, and here as well. First let me crop these classes because I have done a code between these classes. If I save it and refresh that page, and here you can see we have that component. So I have done that sliding for our laptop device, for our cell phone devices, and that type of sliding for our laptop devices. So that's why I have used here classes. And let me tell you how these classes are being worked. If I move in globals.css, here I have written the maximum width of 786 pixel, and here I have done minimum width of 1200 pixel, which is our laptop screen. And here I have shown that first slider at this pixel width would display none, and the second slider would display as block. And similarly we have written here at cell phone devices, our first slider would display as block, means it will be displayed now, and our second slider would not display in our cell phone devices. That's why that component in our laptop devices and that component in our cell phone devices. So here it is showing that component in our laptop devices. I have already told you in details, but I am also going to tell you what components I have used here from swiper.js. If I move inside demo, and here I have used these components. And I have used this component inside our that project which I have shown you. So here if I click on React, and you can see here we have that code. So I have copied all the code and pasted in my components, and just I have changed my images sources. Let me also show you the code. Sliding main component. Here I have pasted all the code, and I have used the images which were in our array. Let me show you what is the array we have. And here I have pasted all the code from our swiper.js that I have already told you. And here I have used array mapping, because in our swing array I have all the code. Here I have imported these images, and I have that array which I have used in our sliding main component. So this is quite easy and totally similar to our React.js. So that's why I have not recorded and taught you all the code again and again. So I hope you understood till this point. And the next point, you came to know very clearly that this is the same image that I have already taught you, and this is the carousel which I have got from React Bootstrap, and here we have that div. So this was the code which we have done. And if you have any still confusion that how can we do any code, so I have done that code by myself. So I have not taught you, but I have just done that code and made a screen recording. So if you want to know any of the components, that how the components are done, so you can see the next tutorial in which I have done all the code. So I basically don't recommend you to learn all the code, because I know after learning a complete React.js course, you are now able to do all the code by yourself. So you can also say that this is just a challenge for you for the farewell of our that course, that you have to done all the code by yourself now. And now we have to further work on the animation of that project. So how can we animate that project? Let me first tell you that how to animate. I have to just animate that image, and some code from here or any other code is up to you. But I'm just going to make animation at this section of div, which is our hero component. And here I have to type framer motion. So now what we have to do here, I have to move inside introduction, and here you will see we have installation process. You have to copy it and move inside the code, and here open the terminal. I am going to kill the first terminal, and again I am going to open the terminal, change the directory to a state web, and here I have to paste that framer motion, and now it is being installed. and it is successfully installed now. I am again going to open my that code. So here I am going to open my project. So what we have to do now, let me have a short introduction of framer motion. Here in animation, I am going to move inside overview, and here we have a short overview that we have framer motion. Here we have animation, which we have used here, and we have this x-axis, y-axis, and rotate. What I have to do now, this is the code for this animation. So this was, let me refresh the page. And you can see here it is slightly increasing, and here this animation is done, which is animation as x 200, and transition is our duration 2 seconds. And here let me show you more. Here this is the animation for that div, and it have also given here the code for these motions which are being done. So what I have to do here, I'm just going to make a custom animation inside our hero component. The very first step that I have to do, I have to import motion from our framer motion. Now just save it, and what I have to do now, let me first point out to the image. So here we have that image. I'm going to point out to that image. I'm going to take here a div, and I am putting this image inside that div. And what I have to do here, I'm just making here motion dot that div. So here I should also have to type motion dot div. Now if I save it, you will see the output, but nothing is happened to that image till now, because we have not done anything. We have just made a gridding with that image. So what I have to do here, I'm just typing here as initially it would be, as I'm just setting y to 2 rem and opacity as 0, and here I am typing animate. So if it is animated, then what we have to do, I am just saying that it would be from y as 0 and opacity as 1. So if I save it and refresh that page, you can see it came from bottom. So what if I type here as 7 rem to x-axis? Here I am also pointing out to x-axis now. If I save it, refresh that page, you can see that that image is moved from x-axis, but the time is too high. So what I have to do here, I'm just typing here transition as I can type here any second is up to us. I'm just typing here, I'm just typing duration, just typing duration of 2 seconds, and here I'm typing the type as spring. Here I'm just typing the type as spring. Now if I save it, refresh that page, you can see that it is not smoothly came. I'm just typing here as 5. Now you can see that it is smoothly came. Actually the time was short. Again I refresh it. You can see this image is smoothly came. So now what I have to do? No, I'm just pointing out to that heading. Let me check what is that heading. I'm just going to minimize that code and maximize it now. And here we have that h1. I'm now just pointing out to that h1 and typing motion.h1. Now here I'm just typing as initial x-axis as I'm just typing minus 2 rem, and y-axis as 4 rem. You can also type 2 rem, and opacity as 0. So this is initial. Now I'm just typing animate. Here I am going to copy that code and pasting it inside that animate, and I am going to make x-axis to 0 now and y-axis to also 0 and opacity as 1. And if I save it and refresh it, you can see that it is accidentally came. So I had to give here transition as well. I'm just typing here duration of 4 seconds, and I'm also typing here type as spring. Now if I save it, refresh that page, all the code is now working as soothing. So now I hope you understood it and also understood that how can we use framer motion in our React.js and Next.js as well, because for both it is same.